Hey guys, so I apologize for being this. I kind of just wanted to get this out, okay? So Roe v. Wade was overturned. That is a big thing and is not good for a variety of different reasons. So I wanted to kind of talk about why us, generally the population, and more broadly to men and other lefties I've talked to who either don't understand or don't get why the overturning of Roe v. Wade is fundamentally, going to hurt us in the long run. Let me explain. For those who remember, what was the war on drugs? The war on drugs was effectively a way for Nixon and his compatriots to basically remove the ability to vote from people that they know would never vote for them, i.e. black people and liberal white people who to all varying degrees use psychedelics, weed, and cocaine. Doing this made it so a plethora of the voter base had felonies and were now ineligible to vote. This is not good. This is happening again, except the difference is that it's happening. This is the exact same ply that's going to happen with Roe v. Wade, and I wanted to actually go over it so you guys can see what I mean. So let's take it bit by bit. Roe v. Wade's overturned. Purview of this goes down to the states. Fine. Blue states generally implement more protections. Red states ban it. Okay. Here's where it gets really insidious. The red states start passing other laws, like banning things like contraception, banning things like contraception for people other than married people, which I believe it was Missouri North Carolina was toying with a bill like that. And then what ends up happening is when these laws pass, you get less opposition. Disenfranchised people who, whether it's women or doctors or even just college students who, were able to get some condoms from across state lines, and they just didn't want to risk they just didn't want to risk getting their girlfriend pregnant or something. They are now disenfranchised themselves. They are now depending on the severity of the crime and how these crimes are classified, they are now felons, and now they don't have the right to vote. What does that do? Now more center-left leaning voters go away, and now conservative power grows because people that vote conservative are generally against contraception anyway because they're fucking weird. What does that do? That conservative power grows in the state, and they have a much larger stranglehold on power. You're like, okay, so who gives a shit? Why does this matter? Well, what this matters because, again, America has a very short attention span. COVID overtook us for years. It's still an issue, but we're not talking about it as much, mainly because the CDC doesn't give a fuck about us anymore, and the powers that be have just decided, fuck the poor, we're going to die, but that's a whole nother conversation. Then it was on Ukraine, and now it's on Roe v. Wade. Now, I'm not saying that you can't have current events, but what I am saying is that we should still be concerned about COVID. We should still be concerned about Russia being authoritarian. And we should, and 6 months from now, we should still be concerned about Roe v. Wade being overturned. It's not overturned now, thankfully, but it's going to be in June at the earliest. So, if we don't, because the American cultural zeitgeist is what it is, we're not going to remember all of this or care about it about 4 years from now. And so when say in 2024, probably not 2024, but 2028, after the referendum and all that's done, you've probably had a Democrat or two and that's been in office for a while. It's, people are, it's whatever, the economy's not doing great, we probably just had a recession, things of that nature. People say, let's try something new. And they go and they vote Republican. They vote Republican in their state, they vote Republican in blue states. And so what happens? So now what happens is Republicans have a 60 vote, have control of the House and a filibuster-proof majority in the Senate. What happens from here? This is where it gets truly scary. They start implementing things like this on a national level. They do a national ban on abortion, as Mitch McConnell came out today and said he was looking to do. Because when you do these things and you classify abortion as murder this way, you then start disenfranchising people in the blue states, and because the Democrats in blue states are fucking terrible, and they don't want to get rid of, and they don't want to allow felons to vote and things like that. What ends up happening is now the Democratic bases in those blue states, they start dwindling, and so then what ends up happening is that the GOP takes control over time. And then what does the GOP do? They then do all of these horrible things, and then they coalesce their power that way. And I want to remind everybody what Christian conservative culture wants ultimately. Their idea of what an American should be, not what a Christian should be, what an American should be, what everybody should be forced to do. And here's the thing, I'm not talking about Joe Schmo. There are probably some that are like that, absolutely. But there are people that just like go to work, they love their family. I'm not talking about them. What I'm talking about are the mega church pastors, the conservative billionaires, the people who hold the levers of power in this country, who have the ability, not only the power and the ability to force it upon us, but also they want it to us to live the way they think we should. So they want you to have a one-income household where only the man works. They want a traditional marriage. They want the wife barefoot and pregnant. They want you to go to church. They want men to be as masculine as they think men used to be, in the most traditional sense. So all of those toxic traits of men not being able to show their emotion and be vulnerable, men not being able to, be be anything other than stoic or angry, very true. Parents also, and for those that grew up in more religious households, kids generally aren't viewed on as individuals. And, parents expect their kids to do whatever they tell them to, even well into their adulthood. And, quote unquote, broad strokes, knowing your place. What do I mean by knowing your place? What I mean by that is if you don't follow what they think that your place should be, you deserve to suffer. Which is why they're implementing things these way. They think that a woman's only true purpose in life, I'm not saying it's their only purpose, but their true purpose in life is to be a mother. They say that a man's only purpose is to be a father and to work. And for those who are atheists among us, like yours truly, I want to remind you that 60% of Christians in Gallup polls have stated that they would not fight for the free speech rights of non-Christians, specifically atheists, versus the 70% of that group polled that said they would fight for them, vice versa. So I just wanted to do this as a stark reminder that on top of this being a human rights nightmare in the United States, this is also a political strategy to disenfranchise entire swaths of the voter base. Because the fact of the matter is that women, on average, are much more educated than men now. Women are much more likely to be independent compared to men. And this is antithetical to the entire conservative mythos. Women are supposed to be subservient, and women are supposed to be in the fucking kitchen. And they will do what, and they do not care. And here's the thing. I want to also preface with this. I am not shaming anybody, man or woman. If you are a man and you want to have a traditional wife who stays home and is a homemaker and has kids and a happy family, that's fine. If you are a woman that wants to be a housewife and just have kids and be a mom and not work and do all those things, that's okay. No, I will never tell anybody that is not what you should or should not do with your life. The problem is that they're trying to take away the choice of people who don't want that. I am for those who are unaware, I'm a monogamist. The woman I'm in love with, I'm gonna end up marrying at some point in the midterm future. I don't look like a leftist aside from maybe the beard and the chub, but the fact of the matter is that I choose this lifestyle. Most conservatives would be okay with my lifestyle. I don't drink, I don't really smoke, I don't party, I'm a homebody. These are very conservative values. But I chose this. They don't want to give you the right to choose what kind of life you want to live. They want to force people into lives. And they want to force children into this world that will be birthed into hostile households where they are unwanted, fundamentally, and you're going to see a rise over the next, if these policies are uncombated, you are going to see a rise in child trauma rates. You're going to see a rise in divorce. You're going to see a rise in probably spousal abuse. You're probably going to see a rise in child abuse because at the end of the day, you are forcing people into decisions that they don't want, and you can't expect people to be rational when they are being forced to do things that they do not want. I'll end with this. We need to remember that the Christian conservative right wing, the evangelicals, want to institute a world where certain people are better than others by both traits that they control, that those people can control, and traits those people cannot control. I.e., those people are Christian, those people are get married, those people, and as well as other things like the color of their skin, their sexuality, whether or not they have the ability to have kids. Because at the end of the fucking day, this is about control, and this is about power, and this is about, the biggest problem with Christianity, which has been the biggest problem with Christianity since time immemorial. Christians want to live in a world surrounded by other Christians that hold their beliefs. Christianity throughout history has always been a very subversive force, but which is why it is the dominant faith today. And now that it is the dominant faith today, those same traits that made it very subversive, that broke empires and built great ones, are also the same traits that are forcing people to live ways in ways they do not. And I'm not talking about Christianity itself. I'm talking about the people that believe it, because the people that are trying to institute what is in some states affectionately apartheid in a way is wrong and terrible. I know that this last bit was a little bit rambly, but I just really wanted to drive the point home that at the end of the day, this is about power, and this is about forcing people to live lives that they do not want to live, and this is about coalescing power so they can force more people to live this way. They're stepping stones, and you got to keep that in mind. Fuck. A big thanks to my patrons and all these people that you see right next to me. I appreciate you guys bunches and bunches, and if you aren't already subscribed to the channel, I'd appreciate it if you did. Otherwise, thank you so much for coming to hang out. I apologize again. That was a little rambly at the end, but I'm just disgusted. Remember, war on drugs was just a reason to stamp out dissent. This is no different. Have a good one, everybody.